in China, what they do is they teach a different curriculum. On TikTok, the Chinese are getting smarter. They teach the kids at a young age on where the pee goes and where the fecal matter goes. And what happens is they come in here with tanks and trucks. And what they do is they pump out all the young boys' urine specifically.
Nice.
They
Wow.
take the young boys'
They
pee
harvest it.
because why? It's loaded with immense amounts of growth hormone. And it also has a boatload of phosphorus, and it also has all 102 minerals.
Wow.
Okay, so what happens is they take the urine, they pump it into the septic, they bring it into their fields, and let's, for example, their apple orchard. The soil drinks the urine, goes into the trees, and you look at the apple from China, from the young boys' pee compared to the ones that are being grown in a laboratory, geoengineered. You have 100% organic. 10 times more vibrant, 10 times more color, 10 times better taste. Also in China, they do an immense amounts of research in the studies of stem cells. And then also when you go deeper, there's also all forms of urine in India when it comes to cow urine. I could talk about this forever. I'm like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this.
Welcome to Fire Out with Faust, everybody. I am Faust Chicho, and I'm excited and delighted to be joined by my brother from another mother, Rodney Lavoie. Let me tell you about this incredible man, what he's been up to. Rodney's a former contestant on the reality TV show Survivor, so you may have seen him or heard of him before. After his appearance on Survivor, Rodney pursued various entrepreneurial ventures. He became a motivational speaker and founded Warriors of Purpose, a nonprofit organization with a mission to bring hope and meaning to students through mental health and substance abuse education. A personal tragedy and the chaos of more recent global events spurred Rodney to embark on a journey of fitness, wellness, and spiritual awakening. Today, he educates and coaches clients on cultivating consciousness and the benefits of true, clean living. Rodney, it's a pleasure and an honor, brother.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Awesome,
I'm
man.
happy to be here.
Me too.
Happy to light up you. Happy to light up the world. Give some truth, give some love, have some fun, share some laughs, maybe some tears. Who knows?
We'll
Whatever we
see.
want to tap into, this is what the world needs to hear. Penetrate their cells, activate their DNA, and let flow and let go.
Absolutely, brother. That's the plan, and I'm so excited that we made this happen. I've been trying to reach out to you and get a hold of you for 6 months, almost.
Yeah,
a year.
Instagram censorship.
I know, dude.
They had your message in my hidden message folder.
They do that.
And then it happened to pop up with the live and I'd
right.
seen it and maybe the fruit. And then,
That's right.
Yeah, I was shipping the fruit and then your name popped up and then I seen all your messages. That's what they do. Like in my
I know.
DMs, anybody that wants true help, it'll say like, I'm interested in the retreat.
Yeah.
I want to do this. It's all in my hidden message folder. So you got to like go through folders and they hide stuff. It's crazy, you know?
I know. I do. I give the same. I'm in the same boat on mine. But so I was thinking a great place to start. You know, I mean, you had a tragedy in your life. You know that. Would you say that's
Many, as we all do. We all have trauma and stress.
Yeah.
And that's the number one cause of all disease is healing. Because even disease disorder, the breakdowns of all the names from everything from cardiovascular, cancer, respiratory, and all the way down, these are all going to be the effects of trauma and stress. And how do we handle and manage that is dependent on how our generational trauma was set up. How were we brought into this world? How are we taught about having confidence? How are we taught about facing trials and tribulations? And then having practices and modalities to guide us through our energy, our inner chi, to have that prana, to have that breath, to have that soul activation, knowing that we're having a physical experience in the body, so you're going to feel emotions. And being that we are humans or whatever we are literally wrapped up in our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, whereas you look at an animal is animalistic. They adapt. They don't overthink. They're not thinking and having social anxiety. They just go and get after it. But us, we can be animalistic, but then when we turn our heart, when we turn on our brain, when we turn on our gut, with our heart, our gut, our brain, everything is all connected. So when you have tragedy and trauma, and the physical is not being maintained correctly, you have no idea how the mind operates, because the mind is just riding in your avatar, which is your car. Your body is just a vehicle. You're only here for an experience, and it's going to operate. Are you giving it premium gas? So every time and every notch of tragedy and trauma, when losing loved ones, or maybe being a rape victim, or being in the energy of an individual who wants to take away from you what you are, which is your energy. That's what we have. We have energy harvesting leeches, parasites, right? And there's individuals out there who are preying on your downfall. They don't want you to be happy. If you notice, if you post a selfie of you in the gym, maybe going like this and flexing, you may not get that much love. Nobody cares. But if you post yourself in a gurney with a bald head and saying you got cancer, I'm sorry, I love you.
All kinds,
prayers. So you got to realize that you better love yourself. You better love yourself like to the max, to the bone. You better love being by yourself and cultivating things the way you can harness your internal music, because you have to play the beat of your drum. You have to strum the guitar of your soul, because you want to surround yourself with people on that same frequency, but you got to make sure you're keeping your frequency and your vibration right, clear your energy, clear your aura, and then step into things that light you up and people that light you up. And that's why we're here right now. We're in the energy and the aura of people who are about truth, sovereignty, love, prosperity, abundance. But just know that this ain't love and light. And that's what tragedy is. I just scrubbed the blood on my sister's face with my father, right? We found her dead from a drug complications, right? And that's the struggle. People deal with suicidal thoughts. People deal with hiding in the closet about certain things that they're not talking about. So all that pent up energy and all that pent up stress, all that pent up trauma, all that pent up neglect, the list goes on and on of all negative emotions, feelings, things of to be, will then reflect on the self of the individual in the act, such as completing suicide, because it was a commitment to suicide. You don't commit to a suicide. You just happen to complete it, and wherever their mindset or their body or their physical and where their soul was at that moment chose to exit this realm for X, Y, and Z. So lost my sister, my bro Roger, who's my cousin, who's like a brother to me. And we're a big, happy Italian family growing up. We have all the Italians and the Guineas everywhere. And we had like a huge, and now it's very condensed now. There's beefs going on. A lot of people died, passed, cousins, brothers. So things shift and change. So when you lose family, when you lose loved ones, this is where it gets back to you need to truly love and harness yourself and developing practices and modalities and connect them back with source, because that is your family. This whole planet is your family. That's why being able to travel the world, see the world through your lens, which your eyes are, seeing the seed of the soul of the world, of this universe, of what you're going to become is become the footprint of each and every day, how you tap into yourself. So now I'm tapping in with you and tapping into my heart right now, and I'm pouring out my soul, because anything you give your attention to is what you give your soul to. So I'm giving you my attention, I'm giving you my soul, I'm giving you my experience, I'm giving you my story, I'm giving you my journal, I'm giving you my log. So hopefully somebody seeing this right now lights them up. I practice everything what I preach. A lot of people talk in these podcasts, but I walk, and I'll talk once in a while if you want to get lit up, baby, you know? So
bro. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And people don't realize that, we have mechanisms that we need to take advantage of that help us metabolize grief and trauma. We have tools, but they don't teach us in school, And when you experience a loss and you don't properly grieve and move that energy, move that emotion, you're gonna have repercussions either now or later, and self-love is probably the greatest resource you can cultivate. It's the greatest currency you can have, especially in this completely inverse society that we're fucking living in. I love your message, bro. I love your energy. I get lit up whenever I see you, and I feel akin to you, being Italian American, being raised in that kind of family. I know where you're coming from in a lot of ways, and I speak your language. So I'm excited about this conversation, bro. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, well, when it comes to school, it's the same structure as prison, and it hasn't changed. And why do you think it won't change? They want kids getting into ratchet-ass shit. They want kids being fed school slop. They come in on a bus in prison. They come in on a bus. You get taken in. You get 1 hour of free time recess, 1 hour to play. I can go on and on and on and on and on about the setup of prison and how come the structure of school hasn't changed, and why they, for a long time, oh, you got tattoos? Oh, you're a loser. You're not going to amount to nothing. Yeah, my buddies in Miami are the top tattoo artists making millions of dollars. And then I got individuals in college where you have college after college after college after college, if they're all stationed in 50,000 students, where are the jobs? Where are the high-paying jobs? You're going into a system where you're getting programmed, and we're being programmed from birth because then our parents are programmed, even though they're coming from their heart center of what it takes to raise a child. They're taught how to raise a child, and most likely they're poisoning their child's mind. Then with all the applications of the skin and brushing the teeth with fluoride and all these different, break down all the little poisons. And that's why I got this shirt on right now that says unfuckwittable.
Unfuckwittable, yeah.
And yeah, people say, oh, well, that's a curse. Well, I ain't going to curse myself with the generational trauma. I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to scream it. I'm going to make sure it comes into your ear to let you know that once you become unfuckwittable, you can get wrapped up in the holistic side. You can also get wrapped up in the medical, the allopathic side. There's people who want, take this herb, it's going to heal you, it's going to cure you. Take this pill, it's going to heal, it's going to cure you. You got to get this surgery. You don't got to do none of that. You just got to tap into you. You got to clear and cleanse your energy. Don't take life too serious. Sing, lap, dance. Your cells are listening. Be the beat of the drum. Dance. Be all involved in what is free. And what is free is what was God given to you, what was source given to you, from your feet to your hands, all the way to the top of your head, from your thoughts, by your dance moves, moving and grooving, having fun in this life. That's what's going to take you to the prosperity of finding the abundance. When you search from outside, you're not going to know what it's going to be like when you search from inside. And when you have the confidence to show up and do a crazy, stupid ass dance move in front of everybody, nobody cares.
Right. Nobody's
just like Sonny in the Bronx still. Nobody cares.
That's right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So in the now moment, do what you feel, sing, dance, laugh, be goofy, be funny, be serious, be it all, but just be you. Don't be so caught up in having social anxiety. That's what panic attacks lead to. You're overthinking. Yeah. Be an animal. Be an animal. Just literally let it flow, let it go. And people are going to love who you are in that now moment, you know?
Yeah. Stop thinking so much and stop being self-conscious in a way that is unhealthy, you know? This is so important. And like you said, your cells are always listening. You know, I have a tattoo of a water crystal on my chest because when I learned the profundity of Dr. Emoto's work with water crystals and how our cells are affected by everything that we hear. And you don't got to go very far in this world to be bombarded with negativity, with things that are not going to affect you. I mean, especially now, everything going on with the election, everyone is, you know, polarized, and it's like a crescendo. And it's,
you mean the selection?
Yeah, the selection.
The
selection.
The selection.
Exactly.
Because we got even truth people right here telling people to vote.
Yeah.
You know, you're casting your spell. Cast your vote. Cast your vote.
As if
Republican, Democrat. Okay, we got two wings of the same bird.
Absolutely.
And the people that have been running this been running for a long time. And presidents are going to go in and out, and out. And without a shadow of doubt, if you don't become your own savior, if you're looking for an outside savior to change this policy, that policy, my life hasn't changed since Bush, Obama, Trump, none of it.
No.
A president ain't going to change my life. I don't care what they're administering because I'm sovereign and I'm working towards sovereignty. And that's when you teach people about sovereignty and about fasting and the power of taking their mind back and not allowing the control of these reptilian puppets to literally control every aspect of your life, because you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And they may talk your language. They may talk some stuff that relates to you, correlates to your health preferences, X, Y, and Z, but it's placed there for division. You got to have one side of the coin be dogmatic and the other side of the coin being dogmatic. But if you're in the middle, you're the outcast, because then each side ain't going to rock with you. So you're in the middle here, not getting to the foreground, and then people will lash out at you and have cognitive dissonance and have the duality of their brain where they can't accept new information. I've been down so many rabbit holes, man. I've been so deep in the dark. That's what brings me up here to bring the light, because I seen some stuff that will, really fuck you up. But the stuff that I seen has brought me into the scene that where I'm not going to change anybody no more. My truth is very deep. My message can be very deep, but I'm not going to force my agenda. I'm not here to have screaming battles. I'm trying to relate to, all right, if you're in the left and you have the ideology of a liberal, or in the right or a conservative, whatever, I'm going to try to find, how could I penetrate your heart? Do you have a real heart? Because a lot of people turn that off when they stop you fucking right-wing Nazi,
You're what's wrong with the world.
Marxist, you leftist, libtard, blah, blah, blah. That's just division that's fighting. Where's the unity of love? Because I really feel like we have these 1%ers that are ruling this, and the 99% is fighting with each other. But if we could come together and actually talk, express, and try to get to a foreground of meeting people where they're at, even though everybody's been programmed a certain way, once we take off the programs, we're going to be able to like really connect with our heart center to have a better world. But I'll tell you right now, even people in the truth, the community, they bitch, they moan, they complain, they say we need to do this, freedom, freedom. Take away it all. Let's say if the world was perfect. Let's say if this was Tartaria. Let's say if we had the abundance of everything, some of these people still wouldn't be happy.
No, I know.
They love this shit. They loved it. That's what I realized about this truth, the community. They really don't. They want to spit truth, but the biggest rabbit hole they're neglecting is themselves.
Yeah.
They want to talk about the Bilderbergs. They want to talk about the Rothschilds. They want to talk about they want to consistently go down rabbit holes, but the biggest rabbit hole is themselves. They don't want to deal with their own shit.
Right.
They don't want to heal from their own stuff. They don't want to tap into their own creativity. They don't want to balance out their energy. They want the destruction as well. And that's why I'm like, that's why I take a step back, because these people truly don't want to have what you're supposed to have in this magical moment of your energetic life and this energetic bond that you have with planet Earth. They don't want to have that. They want to have destruction the same way the reptilian elites want to have destruction, the same way that the ideologies on any political side want to have. And that's what I learned. So I just do my thing. I'm in my own lane going 1,000 miles a minute. And anybody wants to hop on the Rodney train, come on, hop on the Rodney train.
I love it, man. I love it. And we're gonna talk about the Rodney train. I want to talk about how you get down with people, and you have a lot of clients and customers who come and I know you changed their life. I know, because I see them talking, and I see the effect you have on people, and helping people realize themselves and realize a greater way to live with that, because it's so hard to be happy if you're not healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you want to put in the work though? That's what you got to ask.
And that's the question. Do you have the discipline?
Correct.
Because discipline is self-love. The right kind of discipline. I'm not saying you need to become hard regimen with everything. You got to be able to flow. But a lot of people, they want the cookie, but they don't. They don't want to do what they have to do to get it.
It's called shadow work.
Yeah, it's called shadow work.
It's called breath work.
Yeah.
It's called working out. May I continue?
Meditation.
Right. You have to show up and show out for yourself first. You got to put the oxygen mask over yourself first, and then you'll be able to give so much energy back into the world, and that's what will curate abundance. And a lot of people in this world now want to be abundant with just the money aspect, and money rules the world. It's a currency, but the number one currency is your currency, because you can't make money if you can't give them your breath. Right. So in order for you to talk, express, and be yourself, whether you're trying to sell vinyl siding, windows, roofing, no matter what you're trying to sell, you got to have your breath, you got to have your energy. And a lot of people are trying to get fake energy from Red Bull, from coffee, from external stimulants, and they're trying to cultivate just to get this piece of paper with dead presidents that are not backed by nothing, and they're willing to take a piece of who they truly are in order to get it. Like, that's why when we talk about, I'm not going to mention names, these higher up presidents, who these billionaires, they had to do some shit to get there. Yeah. In order to become a billionaire, you got to crush on your competition.
You do, yeah.
You got to be cutthroat. You got to be volatile. There's no way around it.
No.
And for me, I don't want to be a billionaire.
Somebody's getting fucked over in a way that is pretty unconscionable.
You're going to have to do some shady shit to get there.
That's right.
At the end of the day. Like, for example, like if you got yourself there and a contractor, you promise that, I sign you for 10 contracts. You're going to make sure you do all the windows, the roofing, the side, and all that for the job. And then when it comes, you foreclose on it, you bankrupt it. It didn't affect you. Trump, he did this stuff all the time in Jersey and New York, right, with the casinos.
Yeah.
But this is all the people, all the small men who got affected by that, they're in the back burner, because when you become larger in life, you become a Mark Cuban, you become a Trump, you become a X, Y, and Z, people look up to people larger in life because they got money. Not because their soul, not because their energy, not because of how they nurture people, not because of how they listen to people, how they connect heart to heart, energy center to energy center. So that's the most valuable people I see in this planet are the creators, the innovators, the ones who cultivate, the ones who are homesteading right now, the ones who are collecting rainwater, the ones who are going out there trying to find true sovereignty, the ones who are teaching people about the Roman bread and circus, to remove yourself, to become, learn a common law, learn how you can use the policy offices in their words against them. all these things that are true sovereignty, not just getting a piece of fiat currency to get so you can get more money and then spend more money on materials to make yourself seem sort of happy. But me, I'm a minimalist. I don't need much. If the purge happens tomorrow, I'm ready. I'm TTG. I'm trained to go, baby. I'm ready to rock. But a lot of people who have a lot of money will be situated in a nice, comfortable mansion, or people who are in this this realm of everything outside of themselves to make themselves happy. They need the stimulants to this and that. I got what I have from within me. So if God forbid, if shit goes down now, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Can many people say that? Probably not, but that's why we're here. Become minimalist. Learn how to fast. Learn how to feast. Learn how to cultivate. And that's why being on the TV show Survivor,
Yeah.
I didn't even plan on getting on the show. I'd never seen the show. I got recruited for the show, but it in that life and going through the show and the trials and tribulations, being on that show for that amount of time and making it so long, it was like the God teachings of what was going to lead me into the future self of who I am now. It cracked my shell open. Being on Survivor cracked me open. I lasted all the way to the end. So I went from 195 pounds to 147 pounds. Damn. So I learned a lot of these practices of knowing how we can go so long without food, and how, when you really connect to your spiritual body, the physical, you're not eating. So now it's really taught me. I heard like my sister and the soul come into me, who I lost and healed from a lot of stuff out there, and had acid reflux. I had torn ligaments. All that was healed from fasting. So I know how powerful fasting can be. Like when the body really eats away at its cells. I lied to survive it. I didn't tell him because I wanted to get on the show, but I had at the time a torn bicep.
Yeah.
I had acid reflux, inflammation. I was taking ibuprofen 800. I was on some, like, the thing is, people look at me like this messiah guru of health. Don't look at me like that. I just found new practices. You are your own guru, but I found those things after Survivor because I learned, like, being out here and I didn't have nothing, and I healed from a lot of stuff. I literally brought my body back to homeostasis, which allows me to be able to teach people that, to baby step them in this matrix life. I had no cell phone. Connected. I was sleeping on the sand. I was sleeping on the bamboo. I was living the world that people say they live. Like, I just did a 3-day water fast. I went 39 days, like, with nothing, and I didn't see myself in the mirror. I didn't have no phone to text. I didn't have no outlets. And I'm playing a cutthroat game, by the way, with 18 strangers. While being filmed 24/7.
My God.
So you got to adjust to everything. And that's the thing with accumulated in my life, how I live now. I can go anywhere and shine, and I can evolve, and I can adapt, and I can bounce back. And I just lost my pops, lost my sister, lost my cousin who was like a big bro to me. I had a lot of trials and tribulations that happened in my life, but no matter what I get hit with, it's not like, why me? It's try me, baby. Try me. I'm going to come out. As long as I'm here in this physical body, I'm going to keep on shining, keep on glowing, and I'm going to keep on letting people know. You keep on pushing, surround yourself with phenomenal people. You'll be phenomenal. All we are is energy. Don't let people harvest your energy. Have people provide you more energy, and they'll give you more energy. Make sure you get your minerals in. That's why we're going to talk more about, like, how I look at health and how I view health. It's not just like taking your supplements. It's a combination of cultivation all throughout the specs of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So
let's get, and I want to get into that because so you're often referred to as the Plasma King, and I had my buddy Troy Casey on, who he's the certified health nut. For those of you who are like, he wrote a great book called Ripped at 50, and he great dude, but it was through him, I think, initially I was introduced to what they refer to as urine therapy. But like we were saying on the way here, you were saying it's really not a therapy. Yeah. It's a lifestyle more than a therapy. Is that what you were?
Yeah, he's got some funny content. Like, he got the slapping the balls and doing all this stuff. But in raw reality, see, my name's Troy Casey, and I'm the certified health nut. He comes off like he's just saying, drink your urine. So it's like people look at him like, oh, he's just this nut, and it's funny. But what he's given the message to, this isn't that funny if you got cancer. This isn't funny if you're looking for
an important message. That
if you're looking for something powerful of a modality that goes back 6,000 years, when you break down RA-free from 1975, breaking down all the chemical components in it, when you break down all the pharmaceutical drugs that are utilizing it, when you break down how you age it, but you see him drinking his age and it looks like it's disgusting, but you eat the backside of a pig's ass and can't correlate on how the certain things you're doing in this matrix that may seem disgusting. It's you viewing yourself as disgusting, and it's therefore lacking of self-love. So there's many aspects of what people would call urine therapy, but a therapy is a massage. A therapy is something you do once in a while. It's a little modality that you just knack on. It's the waters of life. It's my waters of life. We're made out of water, and your cells are listening, and they can hear, and you can restore and bring yourself back to homeostasis by flooding yourself with the highest frequencies from outside of planet Earth. But when you utilize what you already have from within, which is your breath, your movement, singing, dancing, laughing, loving, all these amazing things with the internal waters you have, which would be known to be your quote unquote urine. Ooh, gross. It's so gross.
They created such a taboo around it.
So gross. But let's get into the brass tacks of the NPK. NPK is the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. That's what we're needed to put into the soil to grow magical plants, to grow everything from planet Earth that we like to enjoy. Well, your urine's loaded with the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. We're immensely in this planet depleted of phosphorus. In China, we got a great problem.
You do pretty good imitations, bro.
Situation, really great problem in China. But no, seriously, in China, what they do is they teach a different curriculum. On TikTok, the Chinese are getting smarter. TikTok for the Americans, they're getting dumber. They're doing all dance moves. They're doing all. I mean, I love dancing, but it's just distraction. But in China, they got a lot of different modalities, and what they do in China for when it comes to the urine is they have a different urinal. They teach the kids at a young age on where the pee goes and where the fecal matter goes. And what happens is they come in here with tanks and trucks. And what they do is they pump out all the young boys' urine specifically.
Nice.
They
Wow.
take the young boys' pee
it.
because why? It's loaded with immense amounts of growth hormone. And it also has a boatload of phosphorus, and it also has all 102 minerals. Wow. Okay, so what happens is they take the urine, they pump it into the septic, they bring it into their fields, and let's, for example, their apple orchard. You look at one of those Bill Gates appeal GMO apples, or even a Whole Foods apple, compared to the apple grown in the HGH, a magnitude of different minerals, phosphorus, nitrogen. The soil drinks the urine, goes into the trees, and you look at the apple from China, from the young boys' pee compared to the ones that are being grown in a laboratory, geoengineered, you have 100% organic, 10 times more vibrant, 10 times more color, 10 times better taste. And guess what? The world isn't ready to consume this information, but here I am. This is the first time saying it. This is what goes down in China. Also in China, they do an immense amounts of research in the studies of stem cells. And then also when you go deeper, there's also all forms of urine in India when it comes to cow urine. I could talk about this forever. I'm like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this. Camel urine as well is one of the most rarest urine that's being used for cancer. When we talk about what urine is, it's 95% distilled blood. It's a distillation process. It's not waste filtration. It's a blood distillation process. You're only going to get in what you put out. So if you live a certain lifestyle where you're going to deem your quote unquote urine or your waters to be dirty, then you're going to look at yourself as dirty. Me, I live a different lifestyle. I look at how my body is, and my body is, it needs to be immensely hydrated. I need my building blocks for amino acids, and I also need my minerals. I need to make sure I'm keeping my frequency and my vibration high. I need to move my energy. We have a lymphatic system. And all the other stuff, I could go deep. This could go on for literally years, talking about the V word.
Yeah.
And all these foreign entities and pathogens that come in. You receive, and then you have to release. For example, we should have brought it here and showed the example, but let's say you have a green avocado. And avocado's green, it's vibrant, it's from nature. It grows to give you benefits, healthy fats. We talk about the immense benefits of avocado. There's also Robert Haas, who invented and now made his own avocado, right? But there's the tropical avocado. Let's say, for example, it's green. But what happens after when you have guac avocado, you make it at a house after 2 days? What happens to the avocado?
It starts to get change colors and get not so.
It's like brown, black.
Yeah.
And then when you try to wash that avocado off the walls of the bowl, it's very stuck. So it turns into plaque. So something that was green and alive that will give you a lot of energy from planet Earth. If you stay stagnant, you don't move your lymphatic system, you don't rebound, you don't exercise, you don't work, flow, sports, whatever it is that you love to do to move your body, activate, to sweat, to bounce around all these channels, to activate so you don't let things get stagnant in your lymph nodes. You went from something healthy where if you keep on consuming healthy foods, it's going to rot and decay. It's going to have a decomposition or it's going to have a fermentation, whether it's meat or fruit.
Right.
And this is why people have fatty liver. Example, people don't activate and they're not moving things out of their lymph, which then stagnate their cells. You have trillions of cells. They hear everything, but also the cells are being deprived of oxygen because people aren't utilizing their food sources as a reciprocation of energy to sing, to dance, to math, to move, to have your purpose. They're eating this food thinking it's just healthy for them, and it's rotten, sitting and decaying in the colon, and certain things in the colon will leave the colon more dense than others. So for me, it's not about an exact diet, because in the term diet is the word die, because you'll kill yourself trying to find exactly the right regimen for you. We have the abundance of things to choose in this human experience of what you want to put into your body. So you got vegans, carnivores fighting over exactly what diet it is, keto, blah, blah, blah. And this is the exact formula. And how many times these people went from carnivore to animal-based to this. They change their mind and they write books on it, and then they revert and then they go back. But they say, well, this works and that works. Well, when we look at it at a brass tacks of, you have selenium, iodine, boron, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, calcium. Shall I continue? You also want to make sure as men that people are injecting TRT. You want to activate your test. You want to get your hormones. You want to get everything rocking and rolling. Well, you do that doing an immense amounts of things in this planet of Earth with your own body, with your own source, with your own breath, with fasting, with feasting, with moving, with bringing, with breathing, with singing, with dancing, with moving and grooving. So we complicated this stuff because things will rot in the body that once look vibrant and beautiful in color, but then turn black into decay and then will rot. And if you look at like a dead corpse, you'll see that once you begin to quote unquote die, where did these parasites come from? Where did these bugs, these critters come from? It was already inside.
Yeah.
Same thing with fruit. It's already inside. Like these bugs didn't come from inside. And this is the other harmful thing about the community. Parasites, kill the parasites.
Yeah.
You are a parasite. You have 97% of gut microbiome of bacteria. You have trillions of cells. You're just a walking bacteria-filled, parasitic, and energetic being. But we also got to make sure we're not letting foreign entities in these Terminator formulated illusion. Let's inject you with health. Protocols that are given from the government. Govern means to control, means mind, harvesting you. But because of neglection of self, even people of the highest frequency or people who maybe aren't that awake in the matrix are susceptible to number one, cardiovascular disease, number two, cancer, and number three, which is the reflection of the top three, which is doctor malpractice. They're literally killing you with their protocols, but they have their fancy degree from UCLA and Harvard. And because they were given that information of that bravado and that power and that white coat, and they're allowed to spew information, they got the blue check on Instagram, and I'm Dr. Much and Fuck, and I can give my information and knowledge, and I'm better than you because I have my degree. Yeah. People will go listen to the holistic side of that doctor, and they'll go listen to the medical doctor. But in reality, you got to become your own alchemist. You got to become a Tesla life revolutionary. You know, you got to be your own revolutionary. You got to be your own doctor. You got to be your own alchemist. You got to be your own chemist. And that's what I do. You seen it real briefly when you came into where I'm staying. I got my laboratory. Okay. I got my clinical. I got everything laid out that I need to become a minimalist, to take what I have from outside Earth, to take what I already have from within, and then to activate myself to give the best self to the planet, you know?
Absolutely. I got a chance to witness it, and you were just teaching me a little bit about it, and I know that we are deprived. I know this world that we live in, you know, and what they're doing to the food supply, particularly in America, is just it's an atrocity. And the reason why we have the health problems we do is, I mean, it's not a mystery. People are like, I don't know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on if you're willing to actually look at it, you know, and not be in denial about what you're feeding your kids and what you're feeding yourself. I mean, like, you can't trust anything that the government regulates. They're not going to keep you safe. That's not what they're about. You know, they're going to keep profits going for the corporations that run them. That's what they do.
Correct.
So,
and that's why when you talk about homeless people, I was just in California. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're very tan. And they're sleeping a lot, and they're fasting a lot. And no, it's funny, when the of 2020 came, why weren't they dropping like flies? Why weren't homeless people who are near this deadly virus Why weren't all the homeless dropping like flies?
It's crazy.
So it goes to show you the levels of deception there is to be, but they also do have bioweapons. So like when you are conscious of what the government, they could literally give me an aneurysm right now. That's how the technology they have. They have the Tesla technology, immense Tesla technology to the point where people aren't ready for this one, but I'm going to drop it. 9/11.
Oh,
Okay. People think that was a controlled demolition. It wasn't.
No,
you know what it was?
Direct-
Dustification.
I know.
It was Tesla technology.
I did a video about it, special about it.
Dustification?
Yeah.
Yeah. People were colloding in dust.
Yep.
They weren't being burned from the rebel.
No.
This is a deeper construct of knowing that, like, okay, go to your movie, go to your concert. And I still do. I enjoy The Matrix with a smile on my face, but I also have deep downloads of information stored in my internal hard drive of my mind where I can go have fun and do some either lower frequency matrix stuff, but I also I won't be bamboozled. I know what's going on. So and that's what I've become unfuckable, is because we can't be Ebenezer Scrooge saying Christmas is a pagan holiday. On Thanksgiving, this is the mass slaughter of the Native Indigenous. Well, Halloween, isn't that pretty obvious? You're literally ruining everything for people who aren't ready, and you're going to be a negative energy. So you got to learn how to balance out everything of your consciousness, of your knowledge and information, so you don't sound like you're batshit crazy, like you're Mel Gibson in the movie Conspiracy Theory, like blabbling in the back of the taxi, sweating in your mother's basement, spewing out conspiracy theories.
Right.
These aren't, a lot of them aren't theories, they're facts. And a lot of them came true. However, you can't be shouting them from the mountaintops and giving off negative omittance of energy. How can you be a positive light with the information you have? And how can you cultivate your knowledge, the gifts that you have, to then give that back into the world so we can restore this planet back to homeostasis as best we can with these 1% rulers trying to
Parasite class. You know? Yeah. And that's, God, if only everyone would just wake up and realize who, you know, what the problem is the parasite class is the 1%, you know, and the stranglehold and debt that they have created, you know, a world of mostly slaves, you know.
Yeah.
But people are oblivious and they get easily distracted and right back into fighting with each other and identity and race and gender, and if it's not one thing, it's another, and it's the we're still so easily divided, and I really believe that, you know, this iteration of humanity is going to have to figure it out if we want to become a civilization that lasts and not one that, you know, the next one's digging up and being like, oh well, that's weird, I built that. What is that doohickey there? What is that little square thing? Why is there billions of them? Right. You know, the phones. If we don't want to be the next society that gets dug up, then I believe we're here to figure that out. We're here to figure out that no one's coming to save us. You know, I'm a huge fan of Jesus, Yeshua. You know, but he's not coming to make people suffer, and he's not coming to save everyone. You know, it just, you have to be your own Messiah. Nobody's going to come and do the work for you. And this is what I think most people are just like, oh, he's going to burn in hell one day when Jesus comes. I'm like, wait, what? If Jesus came, he wouldn't be making people burn in hell. That wasn't his message the first time he supposedly comes. So
yeah, that's religion. And
that's right.
That's why I don't like attack people for what religion and what belief they have. And the word belief is the word lie. You maybe were told some lies and you predicated to close your mind off, and that's your last truth. It's your lasting truth. But if you're living in the image of Allah, if you're living in the image of Shiva, if you're living in the image of Jesus, what is the energy that you're emitting, and what is the practices that you're taking from the scripture that you're reading and applying it to your life to really be that being that you worship? So if you're not being the being of you worship, and all of a sudden you're praising Jesus, this person's going to burn in the name of Jesus. But then you just got burnt because you just died of cancer, and not in the name of how Jesus was living. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Did you fast for 40 days and 40 nights? Right? I can go on and on about all the scriptures and everything what it's trying to teach us about mentally, physically. They're like metaphors of like what you need to do for thyself. But we get trapped in generational trauma. And I have a lot of compassion because people are in the right source. They want to be in the source of love. So they find love through Jesus. They're finding love through their God, through their religion. But they're neglecting themselves. It all comes back to neglection of self and that outer source, making sure they're going to take care of everything. But if you are a fractal source of whatever God or whatever intention of Jesus or whatever the creator was, why don't you put yourself in a position to be that individual that you're trying to be, right? So and that's why I respect it. I don't want to create a religious war. Right. I don't want to create a political war, a race war, because we're all different shades of wheat. We're fighting over race and creed and color. But if you look at history and his story, there's been certain individuals that have been under attack for a long period of time. And when you look at the construct of this world and who's situated where and who's situated in the ghettos and the Aboriginal beings and deeper indigenous and the began start of Christianity and then where religion got induced. I mean, there's so much that this podcast will be years to tap into subjects that we could spend hours on, but it's just like be on the everlasting search of truth, but also don't be searching so long that you forget that, wait a minute, I need to sing, I need to dance, I need to laugh, I need to enjoy the now, which is the God moment, and take what I learn and don't overindulge into too much information. Do what's going to raise your frequency and your vibration more so. Like what's going to help you more? Learning about the Rockefellers, the Rothschild, the Bilderbergs, and who's controlling so you can get more depressed going deep down the rabbit holes, or going more down the health practice side and taking care of your energy, cleaning up with your skin that you're so self-conscious about. Your teeth are so yellow and janky that you don't even want to smile. Like all these little things that make you love your physical, work on those aspects so then you can, show up and show out so you can actually be what you're supposed to be in this physical avatar and enjoy what you were God given,
Yeah. And I think it always comes back to the heart for me. I see people get confused and over what I would imagine, or at least I thought would be the most simplest things to understand, like the line between positive and negative, constructive or destructive is really clear to me. And I while I understand that that destruction is part of nature and it does happen naturally in the universe and on the planet, that's a different thing than what we see people doing, people perpetrating against other people today. And, I always think that comes down to a hole right here. Something is off with this energy center, this heart, this chakra, and people who are, cheerleading death basically in any way or justifying death in any way. I think it always comes back to the heart. It's a big thing. You can be as religious as you want, but if you got a closed heart, you're not contributing to anything. You're part of the destruction. So I get, that's what got me on my journey. That's what, how I ended up in this seat was I was an actor and my heart was closed and I had no idea why. And I was all fucked up, and I had a lot of self-loathing for a lot of reasons. But, my journey to figure out why my heart was closed is what led me, first to find a way to open it, and then to find happiness in my life and be a loving father, husband, and everything else. So
it's the heart and the ego.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it is, well, not all of us, because there's some NPCs out there. There's actually entities out here that are just like navigating like a Sims video game. But for the collection of people who are who actually are the souls that are that were put into these physical creations, you have your heart, but then you also have ego. Like I said, we're 3D physical dense beings that people go, oh, I just went to 5D and beyond. And then there's other people residing in lower, and that's the yin and the yang, right? We go with the good, the bad, the evil. You got the right side, the bad side, or the heaven or the hell, or the devil and the God talking from within with all aspects of life. So when you have a great heart during 2020 in the pandemic, you would take off that fucking mask, you idiot. I'm trying to help you, da-da-da. But your message is now coming off from a low frequency of how you're trying to transmute that message. What if you say, hey, can I see that beautiful smile underneath that mask? Like how are you talking to people? Like, because when you obtain all this knowledge, you obtain all this truth, it's great that you're going down that avenue to see, because of course there's a lot of deception that's put away from our power. Like we're being entrapped of our mind, and then we're entrapped in these bodies, and we're entrapped in this planet. So if we're put here, we have to learn how to separate the ego from the heart. And that's the hardest thing, because we all have it. I got one, you got one. Everybody has their own intentions. Everybody has their certain rise of how they want to present information, how they want to speak, how they want to act. So it's a tough battle of polarity of bringing your ego and your heart and finding that coming together, because you just said, oh, your chakras. Well, if somebody was a part of their religion, be like, stop that. You do yoga and chakras, that's demonic. So everybody's not going to be able to allow people to say certain things, because when they peg different knowledge from different aspects of what you have stored up here in your crown or here in your mind, whatever terminology you use may turn off another individual who is not accustomed because of their religion, their political belief, or their ideology that will create more division. And this is what they love. This is why more people have the outreach. They know people are waking up, so they're allowing controlled opposition. They're allowing shills. They're allowing big name podcasts to mention some things that will get you jerking, like, oh, you see Biden, he looks like a hologram, or you see this individual, they look like this, or this current event, or they're poisoning and using this chemical. They have to self-disclose, just like Hollywood is operated by the CIA. There's essential intelligence. So there's intelligence going behind everything they're doing. This is chess.
Yeah.
This is chess, and people are playing checkers. They want to just go, whoop, whoop. Well, they're playing chess while you're playing checkers, so you're being deceived. And then even in the notion of the potion and the magical ocean of consciousness that you have, you still aren't tapped all the way into thyself, because you're now coming from a place of ego rather than activating your heart with individuals who haven't went down the rabbit holes that you went down yet.
Right.
You know,
right. So. No, and it's a road, and you know, everybody, well, almost everybody, you know, is. We need. I think that ego is part of the operating, you know, mainframe that we have, you know, and you can't. But your job is to make sure that you have balance between the heart and the ego, and to keep the ego in check, because you know, the better you get at this thing called life, the more temptation for your ego to become out of balance, you know. And I see people who I look up to, people who I've learned a lot from, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I'm like, my God, man, he's hosting these retreats. He's got like 1,500 people, and they're all like, oh, you know, they're like, he's always got to be like, everybody chill, and he has to chill. He's like, I have to check my ego every day. He's like, when I put my blindfold on and I meditate every day, I know I have to check my ego, because if I don't do it today, I'm going to have to do it later tonight, or tomorrow morning. It's going to be worse. Yeah, it's like a monster. He said, so it's a constant balancing act. But you know, I wanted to give everyone who may be curious and interested in I don't know what to call it, urine treatment.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people don't know where to start. You know, like I ended up reading a few books, and then I just started doing it every day. You know, I'm like, and once you get over the mind fuck that it gave us from birth about urine, you know, it's really, it doesn't taste bad, especially if you're eating and drinking right. It's not everything about the people being completely grossed out by it is a belief construct. Yeah. You know, it's not about what's there. It's all about what you built in your mind, like, you know, because then once you do it, you're like, that was nothing.
The power of the mind is huge.
You know, but so where can people start? Like, what would you say? Like,
so we have to go through the self-love component. You have to go through the mental component. You have to look at the physical component. You have to look at the spiritual component. And with urine, you have to go from within. It helps guide all four of those. And like I said, I do my retreats and courses, and it's to break this all down here in this podcast is very hard, because somebody's like, oh, I just started with 4 ounces, and I joked around. I'm like, well, that's like doing 4 push-ups. Yeah, like we have been so programmed to think that like if you drink it, it's going to be like this like masterful like change my life entirely. And in some cases with like certain skin things or certain things like if you are extremely toxic and acidic and you did certain ailments, put on your ear something, you may see something really happen fast. But there's steps and progressions of the self-love piece. How much do you love yourself to trust yourself to know that you heal yourself? That's number one. Do you trust in yourself completely? Because that's what I do. I entirely love, but that's because of the knowledge that I accumulated, knowing what we are as a species or whatever beingness of different races, breeds, colors, creeds, whatever you want to call it. We're loaded with carbon. All right. So the carbon footprint is from the time that you rest and from the time that you go to bed, tap into the ether, whatever it is that it may, tap into the ether, the air, the fire, the water, the earth. How is that energetically for your self-love component? Meaning air. When I wake up, the first thing I do is I breathe. Okay, I tap deep into my breath. Then I tap into my fire. So before I get situated, usually with everything, 99%, if I'm on the road, I go into the sauna, activate the fire from within. I'm releasing what doesn't belong. And I want to get into a sauna that's really, really hot for a shorter period of time so it penetrates those cells, gets all the gunk out of my cells. As I'm breathing, I then tap into the flow. I work out, I move, all different types of movement arts, and that gets into the fire element. I am balancing my air with my fire to start my day. And before that, I may drink a little bit of my plasma ultrafiltrate, the medical term for your urine. And then I get right to my flow of my workout, and I have different regiments of how I fast, how I feast, how I build, how I cleanse. And 99% of the time, I'm building and cleansing at the same time. So I'm able to maintain a body where people are like, that's impressive. You must be eating meat. You must be on the certain diet. You must be on the certain regimen. No, I'm on I'm in my own planet. I'm in my own lane, right? I'm going 1,000 miles an hour in my own plane, but I balance out that energy through the fire. I can speak a miles a minute, and it sounds like I'm rapping right now. It's a silhouette. My words come to my brain so fast, so eloquently, and I have so much knowledge stored in here that I balance that because I can activate my fire and I activate that with my air simultaneously at the same time. So that's how I activate my day to start my day, and those are free, and those are things that you have at your disposal. Like the urine is free, the pee is free, and it's for me, and it's for thee to heal thyself from everything and anything through time of changing everything. So being known as like the plasma king or the urine guy or the piss drinker or all that's not, I'm not doing this for clickbait. No. I'm here to tell you that it's a cleansing process. And it's your own perfect medicine created from within you, that there's not an exact guideline to it. But when you go on a retreat with me, or you get to see my life, or you get to see how I flow and how I get down, you'll be able to now understand it more. And then you can apply whatever resonates with you and how you want to flow and how you want to move through your life. Because then when we get to the emotions that you have and the stagnicity of how you feel about yourself, that's the water and the earth element. How hydrated are you? But also, how are you releasing your emotions? Are you being exactly who you are? Do you cry? Do you release? As a man, we're not taught to cry. The suicide rate is so high. So men want to be so manly and quote unquote so masculine, but that actually is toxic masculine. Real masculine is being able to dance, to move, to groove, to
being able to be vulnerable and cry when you need to cry. You know?
But also step up for your queens and make sure you're the protector. So we have the water and the earth. You don't want to eat too much of the earth because the earth can be too much dense, which will be too stagnant in your lymphatic system, which can clog your colon, which then can allow entities. A lot of the food that we're consuming right now is not real. A lot of it is now bioengineered. It's not really of the highest source. But you want to load yourself up with the immense amounts of hydration, have immense amounts of elevation with the density and the choices that you're putting in through your body. So if you're choosing to consistently pound yourself with density, how are you then activating, like I stated earlier about the avocado that was green and vibrant and colorful, how are you cultivating that energy for you to build and for you to cleanse it through the body instead of leaving it stagnant and then making it so you're having your diaphragm being blocked with literally bricks, so you can't send that energy, that air element, down to the lower lungs. So that's why I'm so adamant on taking my breath and doing breath holds in deep as I flow through my fire. And then I hydrate immensely as I'm doing that with the highest forms of hydration being green juice, coconut water that I get fresh out of the coconuts that I drink all the time, or going through and getting certain concoctions that I mineralize. This is how I situate things for you to make urine make sense. For you to really truly love yourself and creating a life where of cultivation from, cultivating your sexual energy. A lot of men are watching porn and literally just grabbing on their stick and then yanking their crank and getting that little fast euphoria. And that could either deplete themselves or can make them feel in a state of not really loving who they truly are, because they're looking at somebody else performing an amazing act as sex, but now it's turning into a gangbang and cripple. Like, you're watching crazy shit. You close the laptop so fast. You're like, what did I just do for the past 15 minutes?
What the fuck did I just watch?
I just released my seed into a towel, folded it up. But that's because sometimes, and there's no judgment, sometimes we got to release. So another thing is, people in the community of truth and holistic would be like, if you release your seed, you're doomed. The doom and gloom of the semen retention. Now listen, there's powers of the semen retention, but anything that is a holistic modality that turns into a stressor, the body can feel the stress that you're creating. So of course, 99% of the time, I want to rock organic cotton. I want organic linen. I want to make sure I have activated charcoal. I want to have all the things, the food, non-GMO, the gluten-free. I'm with everything of that realm. But let's say if my nephew or my 3-year-old niece jumped in a chlorinated pool full of chlorine and says, Daddy, or Uncle Rod, come in the pool with me. No, I can't. I got chlorine, BPAs. I'm going to jump in that motherfucking pool. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's finding that balance of what you know to be poisons, but know that your mind, your body, your physical can shed the poisons, and by having the modalities like urine and then letting it absorb into your skin, using it for your teeth, You know, I only can get a little zoom in, but my teeth are white of milk. It looked like a dairy on my teeth. And people have subconscious things about their teeth, their body, their skin. So the urine and the practices that come around with cultivating that certain energy through the ether, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, will allow you to accept this information on a deeper level. But you got to change everything. It's not just like drinking or you're taking the piss. It's like, no, you got to look at the entire construct of your programs, how you live and how you move and how you breathe and how's your sex life, how's your confidence, do you have purpose in your life? And this is what will make urine make more sense, because these are the waters of life that you have from within that you've been deceived to think that it was a toxic waste, but it's a waste predicated on the mindset, on the self-love, on the physical, on the spiritual. All these components will make it so this could be a great panacea, because I've helped people with things that they say couldn't bounce back from. You know, I'm not a medical doctor, nor am I giving medical advice. I'm not giving anybody an exact prescription, nor what I never want to be. So let's make that crystal clear. But what I will say is, when you tap into everything of what I'm mentioning here, you'll see a mass change in your life, but it all comes down to work. You got to put in the work. You got to have the dedication. You got to have the commitment to thyself. You got to know that some days, if as a man, if you release your seed, so be it. Get back on the train. As a woman, you may have lashed out and did some things that you regret, but these are not mistakes. These are just lessons. And the lessons are the biggest, what people would call blessings. But then when you get higher level of consciousness, they say that words cast spells. And when you say blessed, that means be less, because the etymology of the word, God bless you, be less of you. So I've been down so many rabbit holes. It's so hard for me to construct everything. That's why hallelujah, Yahweh, Jesus. The letter J has existed 1500s.
No.
So why do we know Jesus? We know Jesus, but nobody says Yahweh and Yeshua. Nobody knows the deepest stories of the story, of what the story that they got stuck in their belief and their ideology, where they can't open up their mind to. I'm an open-minded, critical thinking, encyclopedia-filled book of information that is going to be endless to the day that I leave this vessel and this stored computer. That's all I am. I receive downloads, and a lot of people get downloads. But the difference between me is I put in the work and I upload that. So if I'm giving you this information, download into your software. And when you download this information, don't let it sit there. Many people get downloads, but they let it sit there. Take it into your own editing studio. Add the effects. Do the cuts. That's what an upload is you bring it into your software, bring it into that Adobe shop, and then mess around with it. Make it your creation. Make plasma ultrafiltrate the urine. Make cultivating, juicing, and fasting and feasting. Do your own science, your trials and tribulations, the information that you were given, and then edit and upload that stuff, and then you become a masterful doctor, professor, scientist, your own alchemist, by you doing trial and error. But until you really go step deep into everything, a lot of people have judgment around the plasma ultrafiltrate of the urine. A lot of people have judgment when they see somebody eating a dead carcass and only on a carnivore. So people will judge a raw vegan. They'll judge everybody's lifestyle. Me, I got no titles. No titles across the board. I'm not vegan. I'm not carnivore. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm none of that. I'm existing as magical energy, in which we all are. And I'm here to give that energy to others, to activate their heart, to balance out all your chi, balance out all your energy, balance out all the stress, all the trauma, the yin, the yang. You need the polarity. You need the good with the bad. And through it all, find a way to put a smile on your face, to elevate, to dance, to laugh, to love, and to give that energy back into the world. And you'll do that by helping people when they got cancer, when they got certain ailments. But you got to make sure that you're just stepping in your footprint, being who you are, and that's what's going to help heal the world, you know? Absolutely,
man. I remember, you know, when it all came to me at once, and maybe it was a download, but it became so certain in my mind that, of course, the Creator gave us what we need, everything that we need, not only here on this planet, but within this incredible technology that we get to walk around in every day. And it just made perfect sense to me. I was like, wow, of course he would not put us, you know, I mean, being able to see the infinite realities, you know, equipping us with what we need would make perfect sense. And I believe that he has. And once that realization dawned on me, I was like, I just had to learn more, and I started to implement it, you know. But I do have a question. And I've been curious about this. You know, I know that there is also benefits to drinking it after it's aged, and of course, then people start to get really.
This is the deep. That's where a lot of the components are.
Right, yeah. But what happens when you drink it when for people who do get interested in it? I'm sure you know, like what happens when you drink it when it's aged, and is there?
It's a graduation process.
Right.
I'm like in my doctorate, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is the age is going to have a strong smell.
Yeah.
Aged wine, kombucha, whiskey. You open that up, oh god dang it, that whiskey is strong old whiskey. So it's going to be strong. The chemical components from when you have a fresh urination, there's between 100 to 300 undifferentiated stem cells. When you age it the longer, the stem cells multiply into the millions.
Wow.
Millions. Like people, everywhere. Like when I was been in California, I was at the gym. People like, yo, like dudes coming up to me like, man, I just got to say this, but you look like a lioness, like unlimited ageless surfer dude. Like you, like they were like literally. Yeah. And I'm like, if your mother only knew I'm covered with, you know. But the thing is if I put it on a fancy logo, right, with a nice little logo on it, call it a fancy name, people will put it on their skin. But when you say it's free and it's aged, it needs to be masked. In this society, we need to mask what's in it. And a lot of the chemicals and the compounds that are in these certain things that they use in, like for example, urea, which is in some of the components. Urine that's in the urea. It's a urokinase, also a pharmaceutical drug to dissolve blood clots. So we want to cleanse our blood, cleans our blood. And to do that would be the fastest with the age. That's how, let me just say this, you know, I do not heal, cure, treat. I'm not a doctor, but let's say I have an individual who tapped into the age and they had some things in their skin that are deemed by Google to be, they have to live with for the rest of their life. Right. It's gone. Certain names of diseases, they say now you will never be able to reverse, are gone.
Irreversible, yeah.
And that taps in deeper with administering all different protocols that I do with fresh and age. So the age is more powerful, there's more potency. There's also a powerful smell, so that leads to going back to the self-love and the mental aspect of it too. And then there's different ways to store it. For the smell to digress, and also if you're on a different regimen, whether you do a cleanse first and then age that's going to be, if we just sat down and ate bacon, pork, or chicken, or meat, or even starchy vegan food, and then you done that for like a week, and then you collect that, oh my God, that age is going to be so strong, so pungent. You have consumed a wide array of salt. You got all the different spices. You depleted and dehydrated your electrical water-based avatar, your carbon footprint, in order to eat the food, which is fine because it's a part of the journey to enjoy everything in between. And then you're going to be releasing a product that if you age it, it's going to have a crazy smell and it's going to like be really strong tasting. However, if you did a coconut water fast, green juice, and you really cleanse the temple, and then you begin looping, and then you loop for a couple of days, and then you stored that and you age that, less smell, different colors. So like you become an alchemist. Like I have like aged from like 4 or 5 years ago, all different colors and then all different predicated. I'm like, oh, I did that. That's why you become your own doctor because you could tell the taste. You could tell if you had too much sugar. You could tell if you're going in a place that will lead to the destruction of what they call STDs or you got psoriasis or skin. You can notice things going off. Once you fully cleanse yourself and then you tap back into the matrix, or which I've done, I became like a masterful alchemist of teaching people who are on the carnivore piece, people who are still want to bodybuild, people still want to eat meat because people are like, dude, I see all these urine drinkers. Yeah, but it looks like they drink urine because they look like shit. They're like skinny and frail, but that's just their journey. Their journey's to be light, and I respect everybody's journey, but a lot of people still want to have strength. They want to have power. And they want to be masterful in the craft of enjoying the things that the Matrix has to offer. I play ball. I'm a baller. Back home, they call me white chocolate.
I saw some
videos. I got the killer cross. You know what I'm saying?
I saw some videos.
I do the damn thing on the ball court. I was an elite athlete. So I want to be an athlete till I die, and we all should be having that same mind for it because muscle is longevity, and moving and grooving your body and having fun with other individuals and competing, but able to handshake and have fun. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun and to play until the day we die. But as we get older, you know, grandpa comes in here. He may be quote unquote alive, but are you really living?
Right.
Like, oh, he lived to be 70, but he plays bingo every day and maybe sits there. Maybe that's what he enjoyed. For me, I'm trying to get humans to realize that you could be sprinting and doing muscle ups at 80, in which I'm around absolute, like, amazing beings who are lit up and been honoring themselves for a long period of time. And they've done that through longevity of everything what I said. The ether, the air, the fire, the water, the earth. You see these OGs on Instagram who are 75 doing these routines on the calisthenics bars. And you're like, oh my God. And some of them didn't even drink urine. So you don't it's something that you don't have to, but it's something that, like, when you put this in the arsenal, it will take that individual who didn't need it and just make them a little better. It'll make you a lot more the panacea of protection, that extra layer of a better source of water, a better source of balancing out your hormones, a better source of a peptide or an enzyme or an amino acid. It'll give you that balance of self-love, that knowingness that if the world does go to shit and the things that you're relying on you outside of yourself, where you may already be striving now, but an Armageddon purge situation, you have the toolbox and you have that minimalist mentality in order to grow, to cultivate. You could put into the soil if you're homesteading and if you're collecting all the rainwater, but then you use what's called the NPK and you have wood ash. Wood ash, urine, and manure. The human being needs to realize that you're not a waste product. Anything that you put in your mouth and that releases out of your backside, what do we use cow manure for?
Fertilizer.
Okay. So if we have cow manure for fertilizer, what do you think the human fertilizer we got going on could be situated? So if we actually knew what the pharmaceutical companies and the porta potties, how they're collecting all the urine, where does that whole of all these systems and who gets sorted out to make the money? Because you now learn that fecal matter transplants now are making a fortune and helping heal people's gut microbiome by taking someone else's fecal matter, AKA in funny terms, their fucking shit. They're taking other people's shit, sticking their shit out of somebody else's ass in a suppository and help
miraculous. Fucking miraculous. I had Dr. Sabine Haza, I think her name is, on my podcast. You know, she wrote a book called I think Let's Talk Shit. She aptly titled it.
Yeah.
And this is a woman who is on the cutting edge of one of how many gastroenterologists and the incredible. You guys got to check out this podcast if you're interested in this, but some of the results that she had from fecal transplants, I mean, they're mind bending. The medical community was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they try to strap up whatever however they can shut it off.
Like crazy reversals of things that be like, wait a minute, how? But it speaks to the power of what you're talking about. You know, the fact that you can get a guy in there who has this irreversible thing, and then you give him a fecal transplant. You replace his shit, and all of a sudden he don't have that anymore. Whatever it was ain't showing up anymore.
Right.
That just tells you, it's mind blowing, the power of what we consider to be this complete waste.
I try to bring my information with laughs.
Yeah.
So many doctors come on here and they're just so serious and they're so temper minded. They know that if you go in sauna, it'll have shark heat protein. I want to make things fun. So let's have fun with this. The fact of the matter is, whatever you put into your mouth, going through the small intestine, large intestine, make it a way to the liver, the work could be the pump. That's pumping out what you would deem to be waste. But just like your physical body, when you pass and die, you give it back to the earth. Nothing's waste. It gets recycled. Energy is transmuted. It goes back into where it needs to go. So instead of us releasing our fecal matter into the toilets, if we lived indigenously, which we're supposed to be naked, striving in the sun, or different entities and different races belong in the mountains. That's why they have the Caucasus, the Caucasians, the Caucasus Mountains. Mm-hmm. They lived in the cave-dwelling Caucasus, as the Aboriginals, the carbon beings, or quote-unquote what you'd call black people, are striving here in the tropics because their skin is made to have a relationship with the sun. Certain people burn in the sun. Other people will not burn in the sun. Get it? I won't go deep into that, but you know what I'm saying? This is a deeper layer of understanding who you are, what you are, and how you situate yourself in this matrix. But no matter what body you're in, nothing that you bring into your vessel or nothing that comes into the life lessons of your mind is a waste. So it's like, I wasted my time. I wasted my energy. Yeah. No, this is your experience in this physical body. So when you release that fecal matter, individuals have came up with a way to extract things from what you would deem to be waste and create millions of dollars of business in success, billions and trillions of dollars of business by knowing. So by having knowingness, knowing that your fecal matter is not waste, that your urine's not waste, that everything that you do is a lesson in a I don't like to call blessing, but it's a gift. It's a gift to take things, but you have to be able to cleanse, and you can't let things sit. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to teach is stagnation, stagnant thoughts, stagnant lymphatic system, stagnant physical, right? Stagnicity is what's going to kill you faster than choosing to eat McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, meat. So you got vegans saying, if you eat a piece of meat, you're doomed. And then carnivores are saying, if you go vegan, you're going to be frail. And we have a division. We have a fight with all these different ideologies in certain dogmatic ways. But the truth of the matter is you build you cleanse. And by building and cleansing is by realizing you can operate and take anything of what they say, you block out the noise, you live your life, but you have some certain things that you can't be stagnant. You have to move, you have to breathe, you have to sing, you have to dance, you have to laugh. It gets back to all the things that are free. And then when it comes to certain protocols and different certain ways, you can't neglect what is present in the physical. You can't neglect that your mind will drive the body. So it's like the car. You got to put your mind in, you got to start the key, and then you want the car to start on nice. That's because you're putting premium gas. You are a Lamborghini. Put the premium gas. Oh, you want to look better? Put the suicide doors on. Get a better chest. Get a better body. You want to make sure that the interior, you want to decorate it nice, but the decorations and the flow of that beautiful car, you can blow your engine by just simply not checking your oil and changing your oil. So this is how people need to look at things. And then when you look at things like that and you realize that the certain things that you deem to be waste that are free, and you may not have a lot of money right now, and you're not situated right. You don't need these fancy red light therapy, biomodulation, biohacks. They're cool. I love that shit. It's cool. Like, yeah, like sitting there.
But you don't need them. You don't got to fucking. Yeah.
No. You know, you don't need that to reverse the C word that rhymes with dancer. Right. Because you just got to be careful how you talk. To reverse anything of what they say, to reverse anything. I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've seen people not die from drinking the urine. I've seen people strive and thrive living a life of eating meat on account of what that. I've seen people strive and thrive being raw vegan. I've seen it all. So once you've seen it all, the only reason why you're staying in your dogmatic practices is if you want to just be a clickbait shill, or you have money, or you're situated and you're trying to find ways to, try to find ways to degrade other people's lives, and you want to keep yourself in a cult-like mentality. I don't have a cult-like mentality. I don't want urine to turn into a cult-like mentality. Don't follow anybody as the outside source or the Jesus, the Messiah of any space. Tap into your space, respect, appreciate, apply some of the things and the modalities that they do. But like I said, take these downloads and turn them into your own uploads, and then upload that consciousness and that love and that vitality, and balance out your heart and your ego, which is it's an upward battle each and every day. And then you'll find yourself situated nice here. But for me, I've been doing it now for 4+ years, okay? Aging it, bathing in it, and what they would say for it to be this toxic, disgusting waste product that is detrimental to health. I should be frail. I should be sick. I should be down and out. Instead, I talk 1,000,000 miles a minute. It's like I'm rapping the way I talk. My energy levels are crazy. The way I stay in the gym, I could stay there 8 hours a day. I mean, I could move and groove. I know how to balance my energy. I'm just tapped in. You know, I don't know a better way to say it. I'm tapped in, and I'm never tapping out with how I live. And there's nobody that can absolutely take me out, because, like the shirt says,
unfuckwittable.
I'm unfuckwittable, man. You know, it took time. But time's an illusion. It took time, but time's an illusion. So, you know, celebrating birthdays, time, all this stuff, like, oh, how old are you? I come back with how young are you, right? So, I like that. So use your knowledge to reflect love back into someone else, and give them the gifts of the world, which is your knowledge, which is what you learn, which is what you do, which is your Godfidence. Give that to the next individual, and try to find a way not to do that by degrading them in the choice of their lifestyle. But as you see, social media and the way the things came about, we can't have conversations about anything no more.
No, nuance is dead. They've killed nuance. I mean, it's I think it's partially to do with this transitional period that the human race is obviously going through, and how everything seems to be getting crazier. You know, I mean, if shit was crazy like in the year 2000, 2001, shit was crazy, but people were still completely enamored with the illusion. They were just, everyone, mostly people were stuck in the matrix, thinking about it, just thinking what's happening is what we were told,
Right.
But now consciousness is changing. People, even I think people who are completely like, they don't even have time subconsciously, they're like, this is fucked up. This is, what I mean? This can't be, So coincidence theorists are even they're starting to scratch their head, being like, "Okay, wait a minute, what? You know what I mean? How can all those things have happened? So it's a beautiful time that we're living in. It's also, crazy making time.
Is it? This is what I tell people when they say the world's been crazy and now more than ever. Is it that crazy, or is it now we have technology to capture it?
Yeah.
What happened in the Czech Congo? People don't know about that. King Leopold took out over 30 million Congo by beheading, raping, pillaging, eating, cannibalism. Imagine if we caught all that live on TV back then. Okay, I can go through all historical events. We now can capture it, and now they've used a way to use technology against us as a weapon, in a sense, for us to think that things are getting crazier. But that's all in your mind, depending on, again, the biggest rabbit hole is neglection of self. Go down the conspiracy theories. Go watch the Joe Rogan podcast. Go down all these different aspects of enlightenment, truth, of wackiness, of craziness, of who and what and where and why things became. But now we have the lights, camera, action. So you're getting all this, which is stimulating you, which is distracting you. But back in the day, instead, things may have been going crazy and war may have been happening. But if you fled that travesty, you're now secluded as a Tibet monk. And you can now find peace, harmony, and joy wherever you're situated here on this planet. But now, selfies and everything is the capture culture. We got to capture it first. People can't even go to a damn concert and enjoy that shit. You got to film the person who's being filmed, showcasing the concert, and you can't even enjoy it no more. I get it. You want to capture memories, but you really want your memory be you holding the camera and capturing everything. But now we have controlled art. We have shills in power positions who now are pledging the allegiance to your beliefs of what you believe in this now moment. But it's because everything's being captured now. And people can watch, and they spend 4 or 5 hours watching other people, but those 4 or 5 hours could have been feasting and fasting and playing beach volleyball and meditating and having great conscious sex, maybe in a river somewhere, and really all the magical things of that life can offer, wherever you want to go, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is that may be. You could have constructed that. But I wouldn't say that the world's getting crazier. They're just showing it to you the same way that the CIA shows it to you in the movies. And they've been doing that as Dr. Strangelove. Every movie from now to then to Boys of Brazil, cloning technology, everything that is crazy that existed was right there in front of your face, but now it's in a massive level. Social media, mass media, and they control it all. And you may think you're high level, and you may think you're conscious, but in reality, if you don't have control of yourself and all you're doing is scrolling and patrolling, Trump got shot in the ear. This one got this. Kamala's this. Did you see the race? Did you see the political construct? Did you see these two celebrities got married? Blah, blah, blah. It's everything. And we're on the air commenting and scrolling. And there's a place and time for it. It's fun. It's entertainment. But it's entertainment for you to enjoy it as entertainment, not for it to consume you, to become you, to distract you from the abundance of what you could be.
That's so well put, And I'm always fascinated with how spirituality intersects with conspiracies. I mean, and how one leads to the other, and vice versa. It's a wild phenomenon to me. Because I was never into conspiracies. I got into meditation because I had a fucked up childhood like everyone else, and I had trouble, allowing myself to be seen in a way that was open-hearted, and I had a physiological response to that whenever I felt vulnerable. It would be like Iron Man, the armor would just come on, and I know what it's from, but that's what in my journey, but like, okay, now I know why. How am I going to heal? How am I going to fix this? So I had to really start allowing myself and reconditioning my body to be able to feel those things, which was a process, but it was a beautiful thing. But that's what got me down this road. And then from there, you start learning about sacred geometry and the Merkaba, and you start learning about, well, really, this race of beings, we didn't originate here, and if you look at our DNA, if you look at our chromosomes, it becomes very obvious to someone who is working at CRISPR, with the way that they fix a gene or modify a gene in CRISPR is the same. When we look at our genes, we're like, hey, what the fuck happened to that chromosome? It's completely fused with something that wasn't obviously there before. It's like if you took a fucking cherry tree and you put oak branches on it, it would be belligerently obvious that the oak is not part of the original.
Right.
And we see that when we look at our chromosomes. So it's like, you start to get kind of carried away and in a good way, but then it becomes about getting back to the self, because you will fucking lose your mind if you let this because we live in a classified reality. We really do. It's Linda Moulton Howe said that to me. She's like, we live in a classified reality, and it's true. Reality has been classified. History is his story. It's all bullshit.
Right.
Everything we're taught is an inverse of what's important, and most of what we're taught about history is a fucking fabrication of the victors, who get to write the rules and say who did what, and it's bullshit, But you can get lost in that. So I love this conversation we had. I love this message that we're given, because a lot of my listeners do tune in for the truth, for the conspiracy. I did a 9/11 special on the dustification of the towers, and I showed them how those towers didn't hit the ground. I don't care what you say. I mean, you can be in the nanothermite. At least you've noticed that something is fucked.
Right.
But the fact is, the seismic readers, the radars didn't pick up anything, and that's impossible.
Right.
Unless the towers were literally disintegrated in the air. So people tune in for that, but I like everybody got to wake up somehow. So I try to find a way to deliver the information where people can hang their hat on it, and then go back into their lives and be like, well, then how do you explain this? But also, I'm always mixing it up with spirituality. If you look at my live streams, they're fucking wild. It's like one week is like, listen, let me tell you how to pray in a way that will, you want to do what Jesus did?
Yeah.
You want things to fall from the sky for you? Because there's a way you can learn to pray and think and act and feel that will allow those experiences to come to you.
1000%.
And people don't understand that. People think that, like, praying, the Catholic religion teaches you praying is like, please God, you begging and pleading. I'm like, what? That's what you're putting out. That's what you're going to get back. You want more feelings of begging and pleading and lack, scarcity.
Well, that's what when you mentioned 9/11. So when you realize what that truly was, you had to dig deep. So you spent a lot of energy to realize that was, because at first it was like, was it CGI? Was it planes? Was it a controlled demolition? And that's where, like, a lot of the shills will say controlled demolition. But then when you get to the next part of the dustification, right, that leads you to be like, whoa, wait a minute. We're not so advanced as we thought we were.
Right.
Ancient Tartaria. So as you go down deeper rabbit holes of before the flood and all the stories before the flood and what happened prior to the existence of it beingness, and then Tesla technology, and how literally you could walk into the sound of a bell into a building where these tall buildings where giants and Nephilims were potentially roaming, and you could go in there if you had, quote unquote, they probably didn't even call it cancer at the time, but you'd walk in and walk out and it would be gone.
Right.
That's how powerful technology was. So when you see that technology they used for that catastrophic event in 2021, which led to 2020, the Patriot Act and everything else that followed of the control and the massive surveillance and the harvesting of individuals and the sovereignty of how the airplane, the security, the control, all that stuff and all the conspiracy that we're following, you then can learn of ancient things to heal yourself. And this is where the plasma ultrafiltrate, where the urine and other modalities of fasting and all these things where you can meditate, where you can ground yourself, where you get back to negative ionization, you get back to planet Earth, you forest bathe, you do all these different things. This is where it can connect you to things that could lead to more of a positive thing. So you could take a wild conspiracy like 9/11, which is not a conspiracy theory, but also a fact. But a lot of people may not be able to handle that. But the ones that can, you then realize by you teaching about the dustification, where that technology did and had existed, which goes you deeper into knowing how magical the opportunity for you to heal yourself and what other information in the health space that you can bring into you to make it so you're the most powerful electrocarbonated being. Everything in nature is derivative of carbon. Some people have more and less, and that's why people yield more power and more connectivity. So we can fill this body, this physical avatar, with more carbon. You get more energy, and that's how I live. I'm a carbon-based being. In the Matrix, I'm a paisan. I'm an Italian, so I love Bronx Tale. I love Goodfellas. I like all the movies. I sing it over. I do all the impersonations. I do Joe Pesci. Funny how like kind of.
You do good impersonations.
Made a fucking unusual. So I laugh with what I was brought up with, but I'm not Italian at the end of the day.
Right.
None of us are black, Italian, Japanese. We are all energetic consciousness of carbon placed into these genetically modified, hybridized avatars at the now moment because they've been merged in reptilian and snake DNA. And that's the reason why the power of urine is because the snake venom, it gets neutralizes with urine. So jellyfish, you heard about peeing on it. Literally venoms that come through the body get neutralized, right? But with your own substances and your own perfect medicine you create the anti-venom like that coming out of the sacral organ that creates life. And that's why I challenge the people. 1 minute you could create semen and create the magical nectar that creates a child.
Yeah.
But then the next minute you're shooting out a toxic, disgusting waste product. You think God, source creator, would create something that 1 minute would be a disgusting, toxic waste, and the next minute be an amazing suppository going into the amazing vessel of a woman's womb to create life. So the thing is people would say, oh, well, it's still create a life, but that's still toxic waste. But the thing is when the more heavy toxic load that you have and you decide to create a sacred energy exchange, the more heavy metals, the more vaccines, the more drugs, and then two people come together in that creation of sex and it created the egg and created that amazing being coming to the planet. That's where the autism gets raised. That's where these disorders and like what you think it's
allergies, disorders.
This is coming from two people having the most powerful energy, being sexual energy. You cultivate it, you create it, but at that now moment, you are a physical being, and in your physical, you have been harvesting and have so much amounts of stagnation, leading into bring the new species of specimen of you coming together into the world with potential complications. So that's why. We don't want to overthink it, but that's why the ether, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, like the person I choose to procreate with is going to be juicing. We'll be fasting. We'll be on this level of understanding like how I am with great energy, high level connection to nature. And we're going to have a home, not just a home birth. We're going to be in the Bahimini with the dolphins, and they're going to communicate because they want that to be illegal. They don't want you to communicate with dolphins, and dolphins are one of the most powerful beings on the planet. And in Hawaii, they were doing dolphin-assisted pregnancies, and they banned it. So you got to see what they're banning, and all the things that they're banning are things that.
Why would they ban it? Well, I mean.
Telekinesis. See, this goes back to the Tesla technology, and it goes back to the existence of the Aboriginal beings and studying the text of how indigenous dolphins are to the planet and certain Aboriginal beings to this planet, like cows. People are consuming these cows, and people say they were put here for us to eat, but it's a hybrid animal. The more would be a bison or something of relation of a boar that's been situated, wild boar on the planet. So whatever's indigenous to the planet has power, and a dolphin literally communicates with the baby, making that like a superhuman. Yeah. And they don't want people to do that. So if you have born in nature, dolphin assisted pregnancy in somewhere like Hawaii, and you have a collection of all the people you love around you as dolphins are swimming around this baby and communicating with this baby, they'll walk faster, talk, the brain, everything will be elevated. But we're programmed here in the Western world or even in the Eastern world because they get into Africa, they get into India.
Yeah, I know.
They're destroying everything that was pure, that was of indigenous culture. And they made it to a point where if you do that, you look like you're crazy. Like in Sudan, in Africa, let's talk about urine. In Sudan and Africa, they bathe in cow's urine. They get underneath and they shower and they protect these cows. These are indigenous cows with the bull horns. It's probably not even a cow. If you go near them or try to eat them, they will kill you. These are their family. These are their beings. And they bathe, they drink, they utilize the urine as a prized possession, and they literally soak in the urine of these cows, and their skin is immaculate. They're living in the copper-enriched soil in which Africa provides, and that's why the Western world is attacking Africa right now. The economy is booming in Africa right now. You got these people who claim to be doing things like this dude, Mr. Beast, who has a YouTube, is helping Africa get clean water. No, leave them alone. Get the fuck out of Africa. Leave Africa alone. Leave the indigenous alone. Even the Americas. Americas are indigenous land. Look at the Grand Canyon. Look at all these different portals in Disney. Disney is a portal underneath where they created this magical energy. That's why you feel the energy. But underneath where Disney is, in certain parts of old world Florida, there are Tartaria experiences and things that are still left over of the remains that were magical of this planet. So yeah, this is deeper level talk, and people keep things surface level and talk about one thing, but I love that your podcast goes on a wide variety of different things, because we could be here, like I said, for years, endlessly with these headphones on and going and going and going, and I'd endlessly be here to keep on pumping you with like wows and news and things and that. But the biggest thing that people could take away from this is that get the rabbit hole out of searching from outside yourself. tap into the rabbit hole from within you, and to balance out your heart, your brain, and your gut, and make sure you're cleansing and then building. The same way I break down for people on your journey avenue, everybody has a different journey here. Some people are competing to run a marathon. Some people want to be a left tackle in the NFL.
Yeah.
The marathon runner has to stay light and has to be able to do long distance. The left tackle is 350 pounds and has to protect the quarterback, but that's their dream. Who are you to tell them what to do on their navigation of their journey, of their dream in the now moment? So there's going to be different validations. There's going to be different protocols. There's going to be different ways of life in order to get to where you're trying to achieve in that now moment of the chapter of that movie, because this is your movie. You're the eyes are seeing the lens of the soul and seeing different souls and different entities and different things that are going on. But it's up to the individual to take this journey for what it is. It's a magical ride. It's like a roller coaster. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. There's going to be a wide array of different scenery going on. There's going to be so many different individuals that you thought would never exit your life that will exit. There'll be people that come in that will give you knowledge and may leave. They may stay. But if you get your energy situated on you, focused on you, be completely open-minded. When people present information, if somebody was like, hey, if you chew on your own shit, it'll help you get this. Instead of being like, oh, you an idiot, listen to it. Be open-minded to it. Yeah, it sounds crazy. Yeah, I mean,
it's a practice.
It's something where when new information comes in, if it sparks you or it triggers you, go to the trigger.
Yeah.
If you get triggered, go to the trigger. But people, when they get triggered, they get defensive, and then they get into their negative cognitive dissonance, and then the boom, 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 and they want to jump down people's throat without having an understanding. Or like if a carnivore hears a vegan talk about a raw vegan talk about their lifestyle, they're gonna shit all over them. If this one's saying the carcass,
Catholic hears about somebody channeling ETs, they're like, oh, that's demons. You know, I was just talking to David Icke about this, and he was like, listen, any belief system that puts up structures in your mind that are rooted in fear, then it's not. Why would you adopt that? Why, I don't care whether it's religion or whatever it is. Like, if you don't want to be putting fence posts up and putting big old blinders up. Be like, I can't. I want to be like he is. And I practice this. I don't have those. I don't have those restrictions. You know what I mean? I'm open-minded. I'm not afraid. I practice not being afraid of shit. And if something scares me, then I confront it so I can get over that, because I don't like having that linger over me.
Right.
Whatever it is. But I'm certainly not afraid to go down, and look at this and consider this, because I don't have, I've removed those fence posts, those blinders.
Yeah.
And Ike makes a great point. He's like, you got 5 billion people on this planet who consider themselves Christian, Jewish, or Muslim. And God bless all those people. But a lot of those people they won't even look at certain information because it's from the other camp, They won't consider hearing philosophies or things that may help them in this life because they've been trained not to. They've been trained that it's inherently bad. And I don't, I cannot condone that. I just think it's such a cage.
Yeah. When I look at people and I see all right, so we're physical beings. So I look at somebody who's giving me information, like, for example, a doctor, if he's telling you that you have cancer or diabetes or cardiovascular disease, and I look at him, and if his density overload of his waistline, and you could tell he can't even send his own breath down the lower lungs, is going to give you a diagnosis, I'm not listening to that individual. Right. So just have some smarts about you of like who you're taking in, what information of an individual who's giving you deep rabbit holes of different knowledge on X, Y, and Z. So I look, how are they neglecting their physical? Who's giving me the information of the physical, or even other information of spiritual? Who's neglecting the physical? I look for the people who are in total embodiment of the mind, the body, the soul, the emotional, and how's their ego attached to it. So I'm not going to hate on anybody, but when I look at somebody, I could say, is his information and knowledge as best as it could be, because they can't do the Nali Krila and send that breath all the way down to the lower lungs to give me their best and their best breath spoken word, because they literally haven't harnessed what they could and cultivate within this body. Yeah. Are you giving me the clear-cut version of that, or are you loaded with toxins, comorbidity, and giving a great message? However, neglection of self is the biggest neglection and selection of the choice of what you could bring to the planet. So I don't look at people who is the most shredded. I don't look at people as fat. I don't look at people of their mindset or their spiritual choice of religion. I look at the entire collection, because there's people who are on the truth journey who are not my soul family. Just because you know, or even if you drink urine or you're fasting or you're detoxing, you're not my soul family. A soul family is an energetic love and a standpoint that you feel like my buddy Johnny Juicer. We just see eye to eye. We see lens to lens. We see heart to heart, and we could be together for a month and not want to separate.
Right.
But then you could get into the energy of somebody who has all your practices, has your belief, knows about 9/11, knows about this, but there's still janky ass energy, and you don't want to be around it. So like I tell people, it's like music. If I'm in the studio and I'm laying down the chorus and I got a feature on my album, somebody that comes in, the music's going to be perfect. And that's your quote unquote soul family, where you can just come and make music and the music is just great. You don't have to modify it. You don't have to make adjustments. When you just get in there, you record that song and it's amazing. But for example, you could have like Whitney Houston come together with Mick Jagger, two legends of their own, and it could be a great song. But if Whitney Houston came into the booth and let's say Taylor Swift came in and the energy was terrible, it just goes to show you that that energy, just because they're both great, doesn't mean that they're a part of your soul family. There's two different energies. By the way, the celebrities, forget about them. They're a bunch of Illuminati puppets. Yes. Satan worshiping, blah, blah, blah. But the point of the matter is that just because somebody has the same thoughts, beliefs, and ideologies, that doesn't mean that they're your soul family and you should listen to them. That's why I love getting into people's energy first to make my assessment about them. People ask me about so many people on social media and what they're doing, or celebrity, or the politician, or the president puppet, or whatever it is, and what my thoughts on them. If I can't handshake them, grab their physical, get into their energy, see their work ethic, see what they're about, see their energy, see how they carry themselves, see everything about them, the way they look into the eyes, because this is the true connection of self, and that's why they wanted to keep you 6 feet apart. So virtually, it can be great, but that's why I tell people, you may see me virtually, and social media, I don't even like it and enjoy it. Me in the flesh, there's nothing more powerful when you get in my energy in person rather than online. And if online's sparking you and you love what you see, just wait till you see me in real life, because I'm that times 10. But many social media content creators and influencers cannot say the same. They put on a facade. They put on a clickbait. They act confident. But in real life, they're lacking it all. And they're not really the people you deem to be. Right. So just know that what you're seeing is an illusion. Many people are putting on illusion. Many people are putting on a front. Many people don't put in the shadow work. They don't put on the breath work. They're not doing the meditation. They're not doing the work movement arts. They're not working out. They're not harnessing themselves, but they're the ones giving you the advice on what you should do. So look for the embodiment. Look at the joy. Look at the love. Look at the laughter. Look at the music. Look at how they dance. Look at how they be goofy. Look at how they be silly. Look at how they be real. Look at how they cry. Look at how they talk about mental health. Look at how they be vulnerable. This is the true assessment I have of people. So I can't get behind a president. I can't get behind a politician. I can't get behind celebrities. I don't care who it is. I get behind people who I genuinely connect with. That's why I can vouch and say Johnny Juicer is an amazing soul. Go follow him. Go listen to what he has to say. That's a pure being in the now moment. But for other individuals, I'm not going to endorse RFK. I'm not going to endorse Donald Trump. I'm not going to endorse Kamala and the fuckery and the shit show scene. Hillary Clinton, none of them, all of them. I don't rock with presidents. I don't vote. I don't get involved in the bread and circus. They're not going to change my life. It's an energy harvest. I will talk about it. I'll bring up their connections. Like I brought up some great connections that maybe people have not seen if we're in the flesh or in the person. But I'm not here to be a clickbait where I'm going to talk shit about another person and shine the light. Instead, I'll do a Donald Trump impersonation and make you laugh. I'll make you laugh a little bit. But I'm not engulfed in the, we need Trump, we need Kamala, the world's going to change.
He's going to save us.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's not my reality. You are your own. You are your own savior. But then people say, "But where's Jesus coming to this?" That can be it too. But walk into the line of the saviors you created through your beliefs, through your religion, and the ideologies that you created. Be the light. You are the light. Keep your body light. Put on density. Build. Create. Sing, dance, laugh, evolve, create, adapt, go through it, enjoy the yin and the yang, enjoy the bad, enjoy the good, enjoy everything in between, because that's your experience here on this planet.
Absolutely. And listen to your intuition, and listen, just because a doctor says something does not make it true. When somebody says something to you, it's up to you. You make a conscious choice whether you want to take that in or not. People say things about me all the time, and I make a decision to let that be, and I don't put any stock or energy into it. And if anybody ever told me, whether it be a doctor or Pope Francis told me something about myself that I didn't believe, then I would smile at him and walk away and say that guy's full of shit. And it doesn't matter. I would not take that into myself because I didn't believe it. And your power of your belief is going to shape your experience every time. So understand that in your interactions. It's very important. But Rodney, I know you I know you do retreats. You do personal retreats, and you work with people. And I know I know you're heading back to your home base now. So if people are interested in working with you, how can they reach out? Is there a way they can find out more, or
Yeah. So I have my new website coming out with. I want to make sure I give everybody something. So from high ticket energy exchange to free, I'm gonna have the plasma ultrafiltrate. I'm gonna have some free urine resources. You come into the academy, we're going crazy deep. And then when we go into the retreat, or if you want to get fruits, I ship out sea moss, shilajit, wild harvested coconuts, and black seeded watermelon. This is like, where's Waldo? You're not going to find this combination of healing from outside Earth anywhere. So I went through a lot of, I don't like to call it stress, but yeah, a little bit of stress to put these all into a box to be able to freight them and send them out. So I'm going to have an eclectic of different ways for people to tap in because of certain situations of abundance, or where people are situated, where financially or abundantly or mentally or spiritually, if they're not ready, you can either peek into the content and get some free PDFs and downloads. You can get into the academy, which would be low. Nice. You could get one-on-one virtual coaching if you can't make it, because I have people globally across the world that want to work with me. But if you want to come down, I got my sanctuary here in Florida. We go one-on-one on the journey. It's 10 hours a day of going through the work, seeing to not believe, but to know what to be, and for you to take that home with you for the rest of your life, to become your own alchemist, become your own doctor, become your own sovereignty. So for example, as you stated, with the doctor giving you a diagnosis, I make it so you're not even going to want to go in for a diagnosis. I don't need to get diagnosed, because if that doctor, your mind shakes, your body quakes, and your heart aches when you receive information in a negative frequency, like, sorry, Faust, but you got cancer.
Yeah.
You got cancer. Mind shakes, body aches, heart quakes.
Of course.
That is going to destroy you, destroy your cells, destroy your knowingness. Not so much a belief, but your knowingness that you can heal. But then you get lit up by hearing other testimonies of people on the internet. But then it's like, where to go?
Yeah.
So I'm here not to diagnose, treat, to be the doctor. So the retreat is just a foreshadowing of my life. This is not a treatment center. This is not it, but it's amazing. We're cold plunging, we're sauntering, we're sweating, we're excreting, you're seeing, you're colon cleansing and hydrating. And I've done over 15 or plus of these where you could see the testimonial and the people and the individuals who wanted to put in the work. This isn't something where you coming into my life. This is serious.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like we're sitting around at a yoga retreat getting 3 meals a day and you're kumbayaing. Those are fun. Those are great. Like, we're getting to the real deal. We're gonna be doing a lot of modalities, practices, energy, relationship to sun, relationship to the elements, getting accustomed to literally taking energetic sources from outside Earth, but also taking stuff and utilizing things from inside Earth, and realizing that you need nothing, to be a minimalist, to know that you have all the modalities for free, to enjoy this experience called life, but then deem yourself to know that you could tap in and go through everything, learn about high level consciousness, learn about how to hydrate, how to mineralize, how to do all the things physically, but mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on all levels. You have a battery, let's say every day when you wake up at 0, how are you increasing that to 100 plus each and every day in each and every way for you to be energetic here on the planet? So the retreat is by far the best. It's a high ticket item. It's 10 hours a day, 5 to 7 days, 3 days here with me in paradise situated. But like I said, I go from free all the way to for a high energy exchange. And so be it. I'm not here to become a billionaire. I'm here to be an individual, just to light you up in all different facets of life. And if other people have failed you, I don't want you to come back. I don't want you to be a reoccurring customer. I want you to take the knowledge you to be and become a minimalist. And for the conspiracy realists or theorists out there would know that 2030 or the agenda to be, you don't want to just be talking about it. Be prepared, be ready, but not with fear, with action. So take the action for your life, regardless whether we work together. Take the action for your life and do that with loving yourself and not neglecting yourself.
Exactly. And so do you have, is the website up, or is it coming? And if it's coming, do you know the URL? So
Yeah, so anybody that hears this, just DM me. I mean, it's tough because sometimes they get put into different folders. But I have the whole website coming up for the retreats, for the Shilajit sea moss bundle, for the coconut and the watermelon bundles, all the bundles, the academy, all that's coming here really, really soon. I resurfaced. I had a great website, but I revamped it, and it's going to be all laid out here with everything for people to see really soon. So,
but you're on Instagram, right? So tell everyone your name on Instagram, so just in case they don't follow.
So on Instagram, it's at Rodney Lavoie Jr. That's primarily the source that I use. You know, I need to start utilizing. And this is great because this is honestly, I've had many people reach out to do podcasts, and many people want me to come do this, and I haven't. It just disaligned. I'm glad I'm here. You got amazing energy.
Thanks,
you know,
bro.
I'm enjoying the genuine bond being created here.
Yeah.
I could tell that you're real and pure. So all the people out there who may have had X, Y, and Z that got triggered by his information and what he brings to the forecast, I know that's coming from a central place of love. You know, this dude wants to see love and change in the world. And that's why we're here to give these sprinkles of joy, these sprinkles of triggers, these sprinkles of everything that went down in this podcast and for the podcast to be. So continue to tap in. And don't listen to everything we say. Go ahead and do the work on yourself and then play in this playground called Earth.
Absolutely. And if you have not subscribed to this podcast yet, for God's sakes, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. I know it's like 75% or a massive number like that. People who listen aren't subscribed. And if you're listening on iTunes and you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. 5 stars goes a long way. We're trying to build our platform out. And check out Rodney. Keep an eye out for his site, dude. I'm so thrilled that we made this happen. I knew it was going to be fantastic. I know you have a lot to offer people. You're a great cat, bro. I'm so glad I got you on
Appreciate
here.
it,
I feel so lucky and fortunate. You don't do a lot of podcasts, so
no.
You know,
I've been kind of hiding from the world. In 2020, a lot of people were at the forefront of the health movement. They grew their platform.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I was in 2015, I seen the evolution of social media when it was just a little Instagram logo and it was nothing when on Survivor. On Survivor, we had a contract where we couldn't say anything on social media. But now they pay people to promote them on social media because they didn't know what social media was. So I got to see the reality TV and the celebrity community and how fake that is. And then I got to see how fake this trutha and this conscious spiritual movement has become, as how it's grown and obtained. So seeing both sides of social media, I'm going to be now coming forth and saying more stuff. But guess what? That's because 4 years, instead of fighting and being harvested by all the information, I took the information, 4 years of the plasma ultrafiltrate, of the elements, of everything I'm able to teach. So I kind of disappeared to come out of my cocoon to now give people a lot of power, to tap people back into the power, to the message that needed to be. That is, you heal you. Nobody's going to heal you. You heal yourself. Turn your pain into passion and your passion to purpose. This life will be worth it. Surround yourself with phenomenal people and you will be phenomenal. Everything is energy. Electrify yourself. Make sure you ground yourself and situate yourself here in nature and be around people in that same frequency and the same energy. Learn to balance out the ego. Take in everything with your heart. Do everything with your heart and you won't regret it. Even though you may say some of the things that may trigger people or may have seemed wrong, there's nothing wrong in the experience of love. So even though your love may trigger people, your truth may shock people or sting people a little bit in which they weren't ready for, and many topics they won't be. Just keep doing it. Keep accepting who you are. Keep embellishing and enjoying all the tyranny that these tyrannical individuals are trying to bring at you by becoming sovereign, by becoming more powerful, by more tapping deeper into who you are, and what you're going to become is going to be printed on every breath, every step you take, while you balance your life of the hardcore matrix and even the conscious matrix as you glide and glow and glisten and adapt and become the most powerful individual you became in the now moment. And by doing that, by each and every day, waking up to the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, earth. Breathe right, move, hydrate, connect with the planet, and realize the ether and the source energy is from within you, and whatever individual and whatever creator or whatever religion or whatever place that you deem to be your truth, be in the image of that being and then showcase that love throughout the world.
Could not have said it better, and perfect note to end on, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate your wisdom, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Love
man.
it. It's been amazing.
Thank you guys
to the
for
podcast.
tuning in. See y'all soon.